Hi, this is Jason P. Wilson 01. Today, X-Force. Today is Monday, and this is my second posting. I already showed my poll list for last week. I'll be showing my poll list on this Wednesday. But I wanted to show you and share with you some of the comics I read. I was going to divide it into Marvel and DC, but I figure it'd be better if I stuck to families. So I wanted to start off with the Xmen family, and with my favorite reading of the Xmen family right now, and that's X-Force. X-Force 7 comes out next week. I'm excited. This is by far, I think, the best, or at least one of the best Marvel ongoing series, period. This is definitely a comic I wouldn't even say pick up and trade. I would say even Marvel is great about coming out in trade. I would definitely recommend anyone and everyone to pick up Uncanny X-Force in singles. It's going to be having a .1 jumping on point soon, and that would be great. Obviously, I think place to start. But I definitely recommend everyone to go get back issues. Go to your comic book store, go on eBay, pick up back issues. Even if you're not a collector like me, if you just like to read, get them all, used and just read the stories and enjoy the artwork. It's a true X book, and even though I'm in a lot of X-Men cuts, I mean, I had a lot of X books, but the problem was, X books are expensive. They're all $3.99, and there are a ton of them, especially when you're getting into Age of X and Age of X and everything. You definitely can really break your wallet trying to read all the X books, especially when there's an event going on. I did really enjoy Second Coming. I did not read it until it came out on trade, and when it came out on trade, man, I was blown away with the whole Second Coming story. It was extremely well done, and it was everything I loved about X books, and that actually has to do with the second book in my X family books that I read, and that is Generation Hope. In fact, I started getting Generation Hope because of Second Coming, and I didn't read it until Generation Hope was already on the fourth single ongoing series, and I immediately went out and I bought the first four singles because it was that interesting. And now that I'm reading it, I have to say this is what I love about X books. At this point, anyway, it doesn't really tie in too many of the events, which I'm really glad about. At this point, either did Uncanny X-Force, so I'm not going to be lost. I was a big fan of the last run of X-Force. That one tied in, quite a bit, and when I wasn't picking up whatever books it was tied into, I had big gaps, and I couldn't really know what was going on until I picked up the trades later. In this case, so far, it's been its own story. It really has to do with immediately following after Second Coming and the Five Lights, and how she goes out to find these new mutants that have something to do with why we didn't have any mutants being born before, and I don't want to give anything away, and they really haven't given too much away, but it's definitely anyone who loves the New Mutants the way that it used to be written would really enjoy Generation Hope. Anyone who loved Second Coming, and I know there's a lot of people who didn't read a lot of comics that enjoyed it. This is definitely a great series to read. The artwork is very unique, and in its own way, it's very beautiful and it's great. Storytelling is definitely top notch, and I definitely recommend it. I was a big fan of New Mutants. In fact, when they brought the original New Mutants back together, recently I jumped on and I read all the way up to I think 20, but then I ended up dumping that book just because I was finding myself enjoying a lot of other X books more. And even though I love New Mutants, it was one of the first comics that brought me to love comics so much. I definitely didn't feel the same way about, even though they were my favorite characters coming back, I didn't feel the same way when I was reading it, but I definitely do with Generation Hope. Next in the X books, this is actually a not an ongoing series. It's a miniseries, a limited run, but it's definitely one that I have been loving, and it's Wolverine and Jubilee. This is number 3, and even though this is aftermath of Curse of the Mutants, it really has to do with, well, obviously if you read Curse of the Mutants, which I did, it has to do with Jubilee. You know, she was a vampire at the end of that, and this is really in-depth look at her relationship with Wolverine that was tested a bit in a really shallow way anyway during those events. I picked up the original run of that new X-Men book, but actually stopped after the Curse of the Mutants. I enjoyed that run, but I felt that I need to make cuts, so I made that one of them. But even though I definitely wanted to read this limited run, and I'm glad I did, because anyone who likes Wolverine or likes Jubilee, this is a definite must-read. Next in my X books is X-23. I've been reading it since the beginning. I'm a big fan of X-23. I really enjoy her character on X-Force, and when she was asked by Wolverine to leave X-Force for her own good, I definitely was on board for her first ongoing series, and loved that for once Marvel actually kept their promise and started at $2.99. So I definitely was on board. This is the first of a crossover with Dark Wolverine, Dakin, and I don't read him at all. I know about him. I've seen him in story arcs that I've read, and I know obviously he's this true son of Wolverine, where X-23 is a clone of Wolverine. But you have two completely opposite versions of Wolverine. You have the dark, passionate, unbridled, untamed side of Wolverine, being Dark Wolverine, Dakin, and then you have the cold and calculating, efficient, best at what she does version of Wolverine with that X-23. Again, like I said, I've been loving this X-23 series. It's been what I love about X books, and that's why I could not, cut such a great and interesting character from my pull list. So I've been loving the X-23, and I will obviously pick up the crossover with Dakin. I almost thought about picking up back issues of him, and I think I might at some point. But right now, I'll just go ahead and pick up the ones that have to do with what I'm reading on X-23. Next is Ultimate X, and it's pretty funny. Anyone who reads Ultimate X knows that it comes out every, I don't know, 4 months, it seems. It's only on issue 4, and I know a lot of people don't like to wait that long, and I have plenty of things to read, so I actually don't mind it taking such a long time to come out, considering it's a $3.99 book. I don't mind it because that's just less money that I have to dish out a month. But yeah, what can I say about Ultimate X? It's the best of the best of Ultimate writing. The only other book in the Ultimate line that is in the same league of Ultimate X would be Ultimate Spider-Man. Ultimate Spider-Man and Ultimate X are truly the only Ultimate books that are must-reads. Ultimate X is obviously an alternate storyline in the Ultimate Universe, but about the X-Men. But what really makes this a must-read is the artwork and the writing. It is AAA all the way. And even though it takes a very long time between each issue, it is well worth the wait, and you can tell that they don't cut corners. There's some other books I read, and it's pretty obvious when they cut corners because they just rush it out. And even though it's good, you turn the page and all of a sudden it's like different artwork for 2 or 3 pages because they had to rush it out. Not with Ultimate X. You're getting, the best artwork from one of the best comic artists of all time, and that's Adams. And then you have great story writing by one of the greats as well. I love Ultimate X, and this is definitely one that I am very glad that I read and pick up when it comes out. My next up is actually Uncanny X-Men annual. I don't pick up the book anymore, but I did pick up the annual because it's actually something new Marvel's doing. They're taking annuals and they're having them connect with other annuals of different books that you wouldn't really think would connect with. This one is going to go from Uncanny X-Men to Steve Rogers' Super Soldier to Namor. I can see it connected with Namor, the First Mutant and everything, but I thought it was interesting that it went over to Steve Rogers as well. I went ahead and it was actually put in my saver, and I thought, I'll go ahead and read it. And I read it, absolutely loved it. The artwork, the story, wow. I was hooked right away, and I thought, aha, this is what Marvel's doing. They're making you get hooked on this great story writing on an annual, make you pick up another one, because I'm going to.